What's going on? What's going on, y'all? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Hope everybody is having a good day. We're going to get started in a minute. Just waiting for a couple of more people to log in. Ready to hop in these charts. All right, you guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started because I want to be mindful of everybody's time. I want to hop in these charts, that way we can get in and get out. But of course, you know how we start. Before we start anything, we always want to start off with a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for this day. We want to thank you for life, health, and strength. Lord, we want to thank you for the ability of giving us this resource. We want to thank you for the ability of just waking up this morning. Lord, I pray that something is said today that can possibly help someone, that this resource can be utilized to help someone financially, for their families. And I just pray that someone on this channel will be blessed, Lord. And Lord, we thank and praise you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and hop into it. Okay, I see some people logged in. It's happy to see y'all. Thank y'all for rocking with us today. And we're gonna go ahead and get right to it, y'all. So as you guys can see, we're gonna start off like we always do, looking at Forex Factory. And so that way we can see what news influences that we have for this week. So if you notice, Sunday, you know, I don't really take a lot of trades on Sunday. So I kind of keep it at a minimum on Sunday, or if I don't see anything, I mean, if it's nothing that usually just sticks out on Sunday, then I usually don't mess with it. So tomorrow on Monday, we can see that we have some USD news around 9 a.m. Central Time. And so as you can see, that's when Chairman Powell speaks. And usually when he speaks, you know, the market on the USD side, it usually kind of moves and things like that. I can see that we have an orange folder on the Euro. That's going to be about 2:30 a.m. So that'll be right around London time. We look at Tuesday. Tuesday is around London, it's not really popping off too much, but 8:15. I said we got the president is speaking again at 8:15. Look like he's speaking also on Monday as well. So on Tuesday and Monday, we might have a little action on the Euro. And I can see at 10:15, as far as the chef, we got, you know, the Swiss franc, we have an orange folder on that one. Then when we get on to Wednesday around the London time, GBP pairs, got a little bit of fireworks with that one. And as we can see, Wednesday in New York session, we got GBP at 7 a.m., USD, and we also got a tentative for GBP as well. Going into Thursday, I see we got some fireworks around London time, 3:30, chef, and also the Euro. Let's see, later on that day, as we start to get into the New York session, we have USD news at 7:30. Also at 8:10 and 8:45. Going into Friday, we don't have any red folders, but we still want to be mindful of these orange folders with the GBP and Euro. And at 9 a.m. we also got USD as well. All right. So those are the news confluences that we have for this week. And also Things can change as the week goes on. You know, some folders can be added, some folders can be upgraded to red and things like that. So we'll just make sure that we're mindful and we're looking at it every day. All right. So hopping on the charts, go ahead and start with the DXY. So we can see overall the DXY is still bullish. So we can tell that it's still in an uptrend. And so if we kind of compare this with some of the pairs that we actually look at, for example, if we compare it to the GBP, GBP should show that it's actually bearish. So as you can see that this is the DXY, and when you compare it to any pair that has USD in the denominator, then that pair should actually move opposite of whatever the DXY is. Okay, so GBP is moving bearish. Let's check out the euro as well. The euro, I'm expecting that to be bearish as well. Euro USD. Here we go. So we can see the euro as well. The euro is look like it's bearish, going up against the DXY as well. One of the other pairs that we trade, let's see, is USD CAD. Let's check that one out. Let's see, USD CAD. We can see USD CAD is almost moving in confluence with the DXY because USD CAD has USD in the numerator. So just be mindful of that. Any pair that we have USD in the numerator, that pair should move in confluence with the DXY. Let's look at gold. Let's check out the DXY with gold. Hold on 1 second. Let me go back here. Let's take that off. Hey, what's going on, Jen? I see you in the chat. What's going on? So as you can see, gold, like I said, you guys, gold is a different type of beast. Because gold, you know, sometimes it'll move in opposite of the DXY, even though it has USD in the denominator. Gold, you know, it kind of moves on its own. You know, ever since the war has started, gold has been extremely bullish. It's been in uncharted territory. I mean, it's hit all-time highs and all type of things. So we're gonna definitely look at it and see what opportunities we can catch on gold for this week as well. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's start with the GBP. Let's go ahead and start with the weekly. And we're gonna go ahead and mark this thing up and kind of see what opportunities we can get. So if you notice on the weekly, we can tell with GBP USD, with the British pound, we can tell that this pair, you know, overall is bearish. As you can see from this trend line right here. Let's throw that skinny trend on here. And we'll label this right here. We'll label this as our weekly trend. Alright. We're gonna make that red because this thing is bearish. Alright, so from there we can see that we have price, it actually broke this last lower low, and price may be coming back to make a lower high or something like that. But as we look at this, we can tell right up in this area here, we got a supply zone right here with this last order block that was placed. Let me go ahead and make this bigger so everybody can see it. So we got an order block right here. Go ahead and notate this supply zone. Let's make that yellow. And if we break it down to the daily, let's see what we got. So we got a couple things on the daily time frame that we can actually check out. So as you can see, we have order blocks in this area here. So this is a continuation, which is a bearish, bullish, bearish. So price can possibly come up and tap this level here. So go ahead and notate this supply zone as well. And then we also see an imbalance right here in the market. We got an inefficiency right here in the market that we know that with imbalances, price acts as a magnet and price wants to come back to this area. So that's what we have currently on the daily. Let's drop to the 4 hour and kind of see what we have. So one of the things I'll be looking for, I want to set an alert right up in this area because we have so many bearish order blocks side by side by side by side. I don't necessarily want to look at these as major areas of confluences, but I definitely want to look at this inefficiency because we have this gap right here in the market right here. As you can see, this candle here and these candles right here, which is where I mark my imbalance. Price has not closed this area, so these orders need to be closed, and so price needs to come up and tap this area and kind of close this out. So we'll be waiting for that. And so with that, I'm gonna go ahead and set an alert, possibly right here, and I'll say GBP approaching POI. That way we can know when it gets up to that area, you know, we'll know that price is close to our POI, and it possibly can bounce off of this, or it can possibly come all the way up here and fill maybe this area here or this imbalance, you know, all the way up in this area. But sometimes I've noticed that when we have price that kind of scales down in this area here, even though this candle here and the ones over here haven't closed, still price sometimes respect this a lot more than it does the candles directly next to it. So I just wanted to notate that within this area. So if we go down to the hourly, let's kind of look for our scalpers, you know, those who kind of trade like the hourly and down without looking at the big picture or so to speak. So we can tell from an hourly perspective, we're actually bullish right now. Because you can tell that we had a high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, but this last lower high in this area here was broken. So we had a break of structure in this area on the hourly. Price shot up, and whenever we get a break of structure, we know we get a retest. So from that perspective, let me make this a little bigger, you guys. So when you look at that, we got a break of structure in this area here, and what did price do? Price shot down and it hit this area right up in here. So it came down and retested this area. So if we threw our fibs on this, we can see what price kind of did. Price came down, it was up in our golden zone area. And so we drop down to lower time frames. You can see that these wicks here probably hit some level of demand. Just like I was saying right here, you have a bullish, bearish, bullish pattern here. So price came down, tapped this, and then it continued to the upside. So right now, from an hourly perspective, we are looking bullish right now, but price to me is kind of approaching this area that we kind of talked about on the 4 hour. So I don't really want to mess with it until it kind of get up here. Want to be patient, because price right now to me is just sitting in no man's land, and I don't really like trading when it's just, you know, it's not at a supply or demand zone or some point of interest. So that's what we're kind of looking at right now on GBP USD. So let's go ahead and move to the euro. All right, so we're on Euro USD, and let's look at the big picture on this one. As we can see, you know, in confluence with the DXY, we're bearish as well on this one as well. So we can actually throw our weekly trend on this one as well. Hold on, okay. Weekly trend lets us know that the overall market structure for the euro is bearish. And this is actually looking almost exactly like, you know, GBP USD, you know, nothing major. Let me go ahead and make sure that this is on this thing right here. Okay. So let's look at a couple of things that we possibly can see. All right, hold on. Let's go back to the weekly for a second. Okay, yeah, let's go to the daily. All right. So as we can see, looking at this pair, we have a continuation order block right here, which will give us a level of supply right in this area. So we can go ahead and mark that supply zone up right here. And yeah, that's pretty much what we want to wait for. We want to wait for price to kind of hit this and see what it's going to do. It might break this level of supply and possibly come up to this trend line. We don't know. Let's break it down to the 4 hour to kind of see what we see as well. As you guys can tell on the 4 hour, we were bearish initially, but we got a break of structure. So as you can see, we got a high. We broke it down to a lower low, lower high. And then what happened We're getting sort of a break of structure in this area right here. So price is coming back, is possibly retesting. So we just want to wait and see what this is going to do, because we don't know if it's going to come down a little bit further or if it's going to come up and tap this supply zone here. So for me, I do notice that we have a level of inefficiency right here as well. We got an imbalance right here. So with that imbalance, I'm gonna notate that, and just like I did with the British pound, I'm just gonna set an alert for this area, because we don't necessarily know what it wants to do right at this point. Euro USD approaching BOI. Hey you guys, and another thing I want to mention to you guys, if there are any pairs that you guys want me to mark up, please put them in the chat. I'll be happy to mark them up for you. That way we can kind of see exactly what price on those particular pairs are trying to do as well. Another thing on the 4 hour, we can see that our supply zone, we can actually condense our supply zone a little smaller right here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna mark up another supply zone inside of this one, and I'll notate this one as, I'll make this one clear, but I'll notate this one as my 4 hour supply zone. That way I can understand if price gets within this big supply zone here, I can know that if it's going up a little higher, it's possibly gonna hit this 4 hour. Let me come back to my daily. That way I can make sure I notate that this is a daily supply zone. So I kind of do that. If I have multiple supply zones, I will kind of mark them up as far as which time they're on. That way I can be in sync with whatever time frame I'm trading on. Let's go to the hourly just to kind of look and take a peek. Yeah, nothing too much of what I'm kind of looking for. So I want to just pretty much wait for whatever's going to give us on those bigger time frames. I'll wait for it to come up and hit these levels here, and then from there we'll kind of move on from there. All right, let's stop at USD CAD. Let's check this out. So as we can see with USD CAD, you guys, it's bullish, just like the DXY, and we had this weekly trend on there from last week. So one of the things that we want to see, well, that we can actually see, price is actually coming down and tap this weekly trend. And so we actually might get a push, a bounce off of this and a push back to the upside. So one of the things we want to notate from a daily perspective, this here is our last higher low. So we can put on here a daily break of structure, just in case price breaks this. Yeah, that's our daily BOS. So what I want to do though, okay, Clarence, I got you. Euro AUD, I got you. So what we want to do, we want to go ahead and mark this as our USD CAD daily BOS. That way we understand that this thing is going bearish on a higher time frame, then we can go ahead and notate that. But one of the things that we want to look for though right now is we want to see if price can possibly bounce off of this this weekly trend. So let's kind of scale through some of these time frames to kind of find some lower highs on smaller time frames to see if we can get some confluences as to if price maybe will break some of these areas. Okay, so check this out. We can notate this area here on a 15-minute time frame. Hold on, I'm sorry. Right here. And so we can notate this as our 15-minute break of structure, because we know things usually happen on the lower time frames first. And so if we get a break of structure on the 15-minute, that will let me know that price is thinking about turning around, and we can possibly look for a retest and possibly ride this up to the upside. So let's do USD CAD 15-minute BOS. Okay. All right, so we got a 15-minute BOS right here. Let's drop to the 1 minute just to see, take a peek and see what's going on. As we can see, we actually got a break of structure on the 1 minute, you guys. So price actually is possibly going to turn around. So if we look at this right here, because we had a high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and we can see that price actually gave us a break of structure right here on our last lower high, which we can say this here is a 1 minute break of structure. So since we have a 1 minute break of structure, we know that price has to give us a retest. So we'll use our Fibonacci from the swing low and the swing high. Okay, from the swing low and the swing high. So we'll be looking for price to come back somewhere within this golden area. So a couple areas we can look at. We can possibly look at this area here, this bullish, bearish, bullish, and notate this as our demand zone. Now, one of the things I want you guys to know, if price come down and just wick this 50%, that we still look at that as being in our golden zone. We don't necessarily have to come and be all up in this area, but we want to look at that. So for me, I'm just going to notate all of these candles here. Possibly price will come down here, wick up in here, and then shoot to the upside. But another area of confluence that we can see is this area right here. This is the last demand zone that, well, this is the initial demand zone that pushed price, you know, that price impulsed it from to actually push up. So if we look at that, we got our areas of demand, and we can look down here and see that we have imbalances here as well. We have an imbalance here. We have imbalances here, here, and down here. But for me, I would probably look more so to this imbalance down here, because this is close to our demand area. But what I'll do, you know, I'll go ahead and put a couple of alerts on here. Let me see, USD CAD approaching demand zone. Demand zone 1. I'll call it demand zone 1 since we have two of them. Because this particular pair, because we already got a breakup structure on the 1 minute, we possibly can catch an entry on this maybe today or tomorrow, depending on what the market gives us. And then down here, I'll possibly do another alert down here for my demand to USD CAD approaching demand zone 2 or something like that. But as you guys can see, we just wait for the market, wait for it to give us what we want, and that's what we do. We're not gonna rush it or anything like that. We set our alerts. We don't have to sit back and watch the market all day, and we just gonna move like that. All right, so we got those couple of things notated. We already had our breakup structure on the 1 minute. We'll wait for price to give us a pullback, and that's what we'll do. You know what? On the 15 minute, let's look at this entire area right here. We'll look at this entire area, and we can see, let's just notate, since we're looking at the 15 minute, we can notate this inefficiency right here. And I'll move my alert up a little bit, just because I see we have these wicks up here as such, and then price can come down and maybe tap this, and it might shoot back to the upside, because this area down here is actually within that 50% that we talked about. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next pair. Let's go ahead and move on to GBP Chef, because we know that we got some action with GBP and Chef this week. So let's go ahead and look at the daily. I'm sorry, the weekly on this pair. So with this pair, I can tell that we're actually still bearish on this pair, because this here, let's actually notate this. Let's see. On this pair, we can just start from here. Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And we look at this one right here as our last lower high, so to speak. So as we can see, price is still coming on down. So we definitely want to see if it'll break this low here. I don't know if it will, but we'll see. But that's what we're looking at from a weekly perspective. Let's drop down to the daily. And so on the daily time frame, we can see that we're still bearish. You know, we have a high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Then we had a break of structure here, retest, but we see price still came down and it broke this low here. So we're still in bearish momentum since we got a lower low. So from here, we can possibly look at this order block here, because I'm looking at this because this is where price looked like it gave an impulse to actually break down. And we have these continuation order blocks all through this leg of structure here. But I like to look at the initial move that actually caused that leg of structure. So we'll look right here. We'll name this as our supply zone. All right, and we can see prices come up, but we also can see that price is respecting this order block right here, this continuation. So let's go ahead and move over to the 4 hour. Hold on, let me go back to the daily. Let me actually notate that because, like I said, price did respect it. So if we mark this area here, we can see price did come up and tap the supply zone, and it's moving down. But let's look on the 4 hour. We have a high, higher low, higher high. So from a 4 hour perspective, we want to see if we can get a break of structure from this area here. Because if we do, then we know that price is gonna go the other, is gonna start giving us bearish momentum, and we can look for a retest and possibly take it down. GBP Chef 4 hour BOS. Okay, so that's what we'll be looking at from that perspective. We set an alert on this this area here. Also, let's go back to the daily for a second. Let's go down to a lower time frame and see if we got anything else. Okay. Oh, okay, look at this, you guys. So from an hourly perspective, as you can see, we got a high, higher low, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. And as we can see, this is our last higher low, which is in confluence to our 4 hours. So we want to go ahead and wait and see what price is going to give us. Because price, I know some might think that this is the last higher low, but this is not a valid higher low unless this low impulsed to a new higher high. So this is the last valid higher low. So in confluence with our 4 hour BOS, we want to see if we get a break of structure. And if we do, then just like on the 1 hour, we can kind of look for bearish momentum. And it looks like it's starting to make these lower highs and lower lows, but we won't get confirmation until this is broken. All right. So that's what we're looking at on GBP Chef. Not too much more that we can look for from that. If it decides to go up back in this area, if it decides to go back up, we can look and see that we have an inefficiency right here. My square tool. We have an inefficiency in this area here. That price can possibly come back up and test. But with this one, I want to kind of be patient just to see what it, do, because I actually would rather for this to go bearish, because if it does, you know, it looks like we have a lot of real estate that we can play with. I'll come to the daily. Yeah, if this come down, because like I said, it's still in bearish momentum, so I'll be looking for it to do something like that, and that's what I'll be looking for this particular pair. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and look at gold. Let's check gold out, my favorite pair. All right, let's look at the weekly time frame. Okay, you guys, as you can see, we got equal highs up in this area here, which was the all-time high for gold anyway, which was around 2075. So one of the things that I noticed right off the bat, on the weekly, we have this evening star pattern. For those who know their Japanese candlesticks, you got an evening star pattern here. All right. And basically that's a bullish candle followed by a hanging star or a doji. And then you have a bearish candle that kind of engulfs the doji. So this here is a Japanese candlestick, which is an evening star. But right around here, first thing I notice is this huge supply zone right here. Okay. So we have this supply zone. Now let's break it down to the daily and kind of see what we have. Now we can kind of condense this a bit and kind of bring it, well, before we do that, one of the things that I see, well, it looks like I had an alert on here already for POI in this area. So let me make this bigger. One of the things that I see that is huge for me is we have this, let me move this out the way. We have this inefficiency, this imbalance in the market right here that we can see. It don't look that big because we're on a daily time frame, but I can tell that we have one. And because of that, I know price, I'm believing, for my bias, I'm believing price to go back bearish. So this might be the move here, but I want to see it come back up just a little bit more and possibly tap this or take this out, or even come up here and tap this level of supply. It might not, but we'll see what it's going to do. So we can see price is actually coming down to make these lower highs and lower lows. But like I said, I want to see, let me go ahead and take a fib from this top and this bottom. I want to see price come up to this area in our golden zone, possibly the 61.8 or just past the 50. I want to see price kind of come up and then possibly come down for a big drop, because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I believe that gold is going to give us a massive drop off, because like I said, it's already come up here and wicked off at the all-time high right here. This is the highest gold has ever been. It's already come up there and given us equal highs. So basically what I'm looking for is a massive drop off. And if you guys can catch this right, if we can catch this thing a good entry, we literally can sit in this thing until it just kind of drops off. Because one of the things I'm expecting it to do, possibly, y'all see these wicks down here, all of these wicks, this is all liquidity. All of this area down here is liquidity. But what do you see in the midst of all of this stuff down here? You see small inefficiencies that has to be filled. You see one here. You see an imbalance here. Let's see where else we see some imbalances. Let's drop to the 4 hour to kind of see. But there's inefficiencies all up in this area. There's an inefficiency here that needs to be filled. So price has to come back. There's an inefficiency here. We have order blocks right here that haven't been tested yet, these level of demands and things like that. So price definitely has to come down, because like I said, because of the war, price has shot up to, you know, to hit all-time highs and all type of things like that. So that's one of the things I'm looking for. This actually, like I said, this might be the move. If this is the move, then basically what I'll be looking for is for price to possibly come down to this area, give us a retest or something, and show us some more bearish momentum. But right now I don't want to hop in it, because my bias is hoping that it goes back up a little more to catch a better entry on gold. That's pretty much what I have for gold right now. But yeah, that's what I'm looking for, you guys. Let me move my alert up, because I did move that. So I can move this alert up right here, because that's what I had initially. I had a point of interest right here around this imbalance. That way it let me know if gold is going to shoot back up and actually tap out this imbalance or tap this level of supply. All right. So now let's go ahead and look at Euro Aussie dollar for clearance. Let's check this out. All right. Let's go ahead and start on the weekly time frame for this pair and kind of just take an overall look and kind of see what this pair is doing. So as we can see with this pair, initially this thing was ranging for quite some time. We can see right up in this area here, price was moving sideways, and then what it did, it shot out. huge candle shot out, and now it's starting to move in bearish momentum. Because what did it do? Because one of the things I want you guys to understand, we can see that price was bullish in this area, and then we start moving sideways. So basically, when this thing started moving sideways, this here was our last, let me make this bigger. This area here was our last higher low at that time. Because as you can see, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and price just kept, no, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. Higher low, higher high, higher low. This is our last higher low up here. So as we're looking at this, this is a weekly. I just do a BOS right here, weekly. Weekly BOS. And as we can see, price came down, gave us a break of structure on the weekly, and then let's throw our fibs on here and kind of look at this. As we can see, price came up and gave us a retest in our golden zone, closing out this inefficiency right up in this area here. As you can see, it tapped this area here. If we drop down to the daily and kind of look at that, let's kind of see if there's anything in this area that price tapped off of. Well, we have these small order blocks on the daily here. So you can see that price tapped off of that and it's continuing in the other direction. So let's kind of look at this to kind of see what opportunities we can get currently right now. So we're in bearish momentum right now. So with that being said, let's go ahead and mark up our higher highs and higher lows. I'm sorry, lower highs and lower lows. So we'll say high, lower low, lower high. This here is our last lower low because it gave an impulse. This is the last, it broke this last low here, okay? So what we want to look for now, on the daily, we can see price gave us an impulse up. Let's drop to the 4 hour to kind of see what opportunities we have on the 4 hour. We can tell that it still has not broken structure on the 4 hour because we have a long way to go before we actually get a chance to actually break structure on the 4 hour, possibly up in these areas here where this liquidity is. So right now, I see that it's trying to give us some bullish momentum. However, it did break this area here. So let's see. Low. Okay, so it kind of broke this. So we might end up going back in bearish momentum. Let's drop to the hourly to see. So right now, price is staircasing. Like we can actually throw this in a channel. Let's see. This is a steep channel as well. Come here. This is on the hourly. So one of the things that I would probably look for on this one, Clarence, is I would want to see some sort of break of this channel, and you can possibly catch some moves, you know, from the 15 minute, you know, you can see clean structure from here on the 15 minute. So basically from here, you can look for bounces off of these areas, but as we can tell, high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So if price breaks this area here, which is right around, let me make this a little bigger so you can see it. If price breaks this last lower high on the 15 minutes, okay, this thing ain't letting me be great. If price break this last area here, which is right around 1.49446, this is the last lower high that I see, which can give us a 15-minute break of structure. If it see that, then price possibly might start shooting to the upside. But one thing I will probably wait for is a break of this channel as well, because if it give us a break of structure here, then I'll be looking forward to break this channel as well, since they're both kind of close. And one of the things that I kind of learned, when you have confluences like this that marks almost like an X, they call this X marks the spot right here. So if it breaks this area, give us a retest, you can possibly ride this thing up. What you can possibly do, there's a couple of areas that you can possibly ride it up to. You can possibly ride it up to this price action here, that where it can take out this liquidity here. So we'll mark this as just a gray box right up in this area, which I would probably look at this bank area, which is 1.5 thousand. So you can look at that as a level of confluence too. If it breaks that area, price can possibly come back up to this area here, 1.5 thousand. If it breaks this and give you a retest, this is the next area I see price can possibly come to. How many pips is that? Let's take a look. That's about a good 50 pips or so that you can possibly catch from this area here. So I would probably, let me go ahead and notate this, that way you can actually see it. So this break of structure, let me make this a little bigger. So this break of structure is right at 1.49451. Or you can possibly say, if you want to just keep it in confluence with bank levels, you can come here and just say 500. Nah, that's a little too far. Never mind. We can say 450. Yeah, that's better. So 1.49450. We can utilize that area as our break of structure. And once we get a break of structure in that area, I'm gonna go ahead and set an alert here. Euro AUD BOS on a 15-minute. And what I'll do also, I'll take a snapshot of this, Clarence, and I'll actually put this in our I'll put this in the comments section on the thing that I posted in the Facebook, in our Pips Academy Facebook. That way you will have this and you'll be able to see this. That way, if it, like I said, if it breaks this area here, give us a retest, you can possibly ride it up to the upside. However, if price come down to this area here, you know, and it taps this, you can possibly look at riding this up, because if you look at how many pips it is in between these channels, this is 70 or so pips from channel to channel, from the top and the bottom of the channel. So you can definitely, you know, catch some really good pips off of any one of these. If price comes up to this area, and be mindful, if it wicks this area here, be mindful of where candles close, because you want to make sure that it actually breaks this area. You don't want to necessarily just jump right in. So if it breaks this area and give you a retest, then yes. But if it just wick this area here, it's possibly just wicking the channel and it can possibly come back down. So we want to be mindful of that, okay? So, hey, I hope this helps, class. And if you have any other questions, you can always reach out to me. I'm always happy to help. But this is, I don't really trade this pair that much, but I do see opportunity. And because I have this alert on here, if it actually comes up here and hit this area, I'll definitely be looking. And if it hit this area, like I said, if it hits my alert, I'll put it in the chat as well to kind of let you know, hey, we got to break a structure on EA. I want to take a look at it. All right. Hey, you guys, do you have any other pairs that you want me to mark up? Or is there anything else you guys want to see or talk about while we still got a few more minutes on this call? Yeah, this actually looked pretty good though. Another thing I do see, Clarence, that I want to notate, in this area here, price is literally sitting on a bank level right here. So this might be a confluence to let us know that price actually might want to push back up before it goes back down. Price is sitting right here on 1.49 thousand. Let me see, we can actually mark this up as our resistance as well. And also, you guys, I know you guys notice that I trade a lot with smart money. However, I use all principles. I use retail trading, I use smart money trading, I use whatever style is convenient at the time, and whatever style would ultimately get us some pips. So that's how I look at it. You know, with price sitting on this area here, it makes sense to look at this from a retail perspective. You know, you have basic support and resistance. You know, this is literally trading 101. You got support, it's sitting on support right above a bank level. So price can literally bounce off of this, come back up, retest this, and shoot all the way up here to this 1.5 thousand. You know, those are areas in which, you know, price moves between these levels, these bank levels a lot. If we drop it down to, let's just look at this on the 5 minute, just to kind of see some of the things that it's given us. Drop it down to the 3 or even the 1 minute. Okay, here's another thing we can look at too. On the 1 minute, before we even get all the way up to the 15 minute, we can put a break of structure on the 1 minute as well. Put an alert here. That way we can tell when price, you know, we can catch some pips before it even get up to that 15 minute area. Let's see, 1 minute, BOS on EA. Let's see, EA. Right here. So Clarence, this area here, if you can see this, is, I'll just say 1.4965. This area right here. I'll go ahead and make that bold and a little bigger so you can see it. So if we get a break of structure in this area right here, Clarence, price can break this, and let's see how many pips that we can get before it even get to the 15 minute. I think we can actually, that's actually some pretty good opportunity there. So if it breaks this area and we ride it up here, that's almost 30 pips right there, just right off the bat. So like I said, this area here, I don't know if you can see that, 1.49, 165, you can set an alert right there. And so that area right there, you can look for a break of structure in that area, possibly ride it up to the upside if you get a break of structure. That's something that you can catch before you even get to the 15 minute. And then if you catch it and then you're in profit, go ahead and set your parameters. Like, let's just say, for example, you take your trade right here, and this is your TP up in this area here. If price breaks this area, locks you in, and it starts making these higher highs and higher lows, go ahead and move your TP. I mean, move your stop loss and profit. Move your stop loss and profit. You know, that way it secure your trade as a risk-free trade, and then you can use a GAN box to possibly shoot this up like this and possibly choose 50, 65, 70, or 80% and take partial profits. If you guys want to see my parameters for my GAN box, so on this GAN box, I just put a 0.8, 0.7, 0.5, and a 0.65. So these areas here are parameters in which I actually utilize, let me put that back up, in which I utilize for take profits. So if price get up to those areas, instead of me closing the entire trade, I'll just do partial profits, and then from there I'll, you know, move my stop loss in profit. That way it's a risk-free trade. You know, the trade can keep going, because if this trade continues to go and go and go and go, that can be a whole nother opportunity in itself. You know what I'm saying? So from there, you can constantly keep moving your stop loss as it make those higher highs and higher lows, or whatever the case may be. Constantly move your stop loss in profit, and that's how you can get big opportunities that you didn't least expect. That's how the huge big money is actually made in the market, from unexpected moves and things like that. So I hope that helps as well. Hey, you guys, I appreciate you guys rocking with me today. I don't see no other questions up in the chat. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for rocking with me. And we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. But I'll see y'all on the next video. I'm gonna post some more content this week, and I'm gonna also try to add a couple live sessions with us actually trading live when the market is open. That's to be determined, but I'll let you guys know. I'll actually put it on the Facebook page and all of that. And like I said, I appreciate you guys. I'll let you.